Hello, guys. Welcome back to your second lesson of the day. Right now, we are going to have a history lesson, and in this history lesson, we are going to continue talking on the same topic what we talked about in the past few lessons. So, if we think about it, we will remember that we talked about two different types of houses where people used to live in the past, right? We were talking about Celtic round houses, and then from that on, we moved on to Tudor homes. Now, I know that you did great work making your models of your Tudor homes and marking what are different parts of it called and which materials they were made of. And some of you had a chance to talk about it, some of you not yet, but that doesn't mean that you won't. We will find time this week for you to tell us more about Tudor homes. But today we're going to move on and start talking about another type of homes. And this type of homes is called Victorian houses. Now you might be wondering, who is this lady you can see here? Well, I just wanted to show you this picture. As I've said, the houses that we are going to talk about today are called Victorian houses. And this lady you can see here is Queen Victoria. Now, Queen Victoria, it was one of the longest ruling monarchs, so kings or queens, in UK. She ruled for over 60 years, and what you can see here is her when she was very young, when she just became the queen. And I want you to pay attention that this here is a painting, okay? And then look at this photograph here. So this is already a photograph of Queen Victoria when she was in a quite an advanced age. Okay, you can see that this is a photograph. So this is what she actually looked like later in the life when she was quite older. Now, why am I showing you this? I just wanted you to have an idea what she looked like. Okay, we're not going to talk now much about her, but you are going to learn about her more in the future. So I just wanted you to see what she looks like so you can try to remember her face and connect her name to a face. This was Queen Victoria. And then these homes that we call Victorian homes, they were all built while she was the ruling monarch, while she was the queen. So let's see, what can we see here? Here we can see some Victorian houses. Now, these were drawn by children. These children are a little bit older than you, but not much. And you can see that these homes are very pretty. Actually, they remind me of something from maybe a picture book, from a fairy tale, from maybe a movie. So they're very beautiful, yeah? So what we want to learn today, we want at the end of this class to be able to say, I can identify the key features of a Victorian house. Okay, so we want by the end of this class to know what are some parts of Victorian house which makes this kind of house different to another type of house. For example, a Tudor house, yeah? So some general information, a Victorian house generally means any house built during the reign of Queen Victoria, which you can see the years here, that is 64 years. She spent 64 years as a queen. Now these houses can be small, can be charming little cottages, but it can also be an average sized house or a towering mansion. That means a very big house. And at the end of this class, we're going to see a video of two boys going to visit exactly a house like that, a very big mansion. Okay? So definitely these houses, they can come in many different sizes and shapes, but they all have some common key elements. They all have some things in common that make them Victorian style homes. So let's take a peek. What are those common key elements? Okay? So this is a photo of a natural Victorian house, very well preserved. You can see that this is a recent photo. If you remember, we talked before in history how older photos were black and white, like the photo of Queen Victoria that you saw, but you see that this one is in color, so it's not a photo from the Victorian age. Okay, so look at this house first. I find it very, very beautiful. It has many decorations. Look at the roof, the windows, the walls, different colors. Very, very beautiful. And as I said, a little bit fairy tale like. I don't know, it reminds me of Hansel and Gretel. So the first key feature is called gable. So look at these arrows, yeah? They're pointing to these four little roofs. So what is the thing? These triangular smaller roofs on a house are called gables, yes? So just looking at the front of this house, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 different gables, and probably looking from the other sides, you can see a few more. Now look here, we have, this is a different house, it's a different color, but you can see two gables here, yeah? Here is one, and here is another. But what we also want to look at now is this part here. This part here serves only for decoration. It doesn't have any other practical purpose. It doesn't do anything. It just makes the house look prettier. And this reminds everybody of gingerbread houses that we make around Christmas. And this is actually called gingerbread details. Okay, so this detail here and this detail here are called gingerbread details. And now look at this, guy. Look at these shapes. Doesn't this remind you of fish's scales or maybe a mermaid's tail? Well, this is called fish scale hinges. Hingles, sorry. So what are they? They can be put on the outside wall, or you will also see them later on the roof, yeah? So here is another house. This time, here we had beautiful bluish color. Here it's purple. Again, this house has a gable, gingerbread details, and fish scale shingles. Yeah, you can actually see 1, 2, 3 different colors. Now, here are some more colors, yeah? So this one here is red. Very interesting. So please take a look where the arrow is pointing. You can see here that this part of the house is sticking out a little bit, but not as much as in the Tudor house where the whole floor would stick out and be called jetty. Just this little part here, smaller part here, and that's called the bay window. Okay, so what's typical of bay window is that you have one central window and two on the sides. Yeah, so look here again, one central one, two on the sides, and then again here, one central one and two on the sides. Okay, so I want you now to pay attention to this part here, and if this reminds you of a castle, you're perfectly right. It reminds me too. This is a turret, yeah? So it's a rounded tower. It's basically a tower that sticks out usually from an upper level, yeah, from the floor. Yeah, so you can see, unlike bay window, which has maybe just a few words protruding, here you have almost the entire rooms, yeah, being separate from the rest of the house. And here we can see another house, this time in green. Here we can see gables, of course, we can see the turret. Okay, but look here, look at the roof. It has fish scale shingles, but this time they're not on the wall, they are on the roof. Okay, another nuance of green with a little bit of red. Beautiful colors of these houses. So you can see that this house here has two chimneys. So does this one. So you remember in Tudor homes, they also had chimneys coming out from the kitchen, yeah, above the kitchen. Here, the chimneys would of course come from above the kitchen, but also many Victorian houses would have fireplaces to keep them warm. Now, in fireplace, it's an open space in a wall where you can light logs, you can fire logs, and it keeps the space warm. But the thing is, then you have a lot of smoke that needs to come out. So for this is why they had all these chimneys. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do now, we're going to make a little cut here and we're going to be back in the other video. We're going to revise one more time what are the parts of a Victorian house, and then after that I'm going to give you a peek in one of those homes and explain to you what is your homework. See you in a minute.